My name is Dr. John Day. I'm an emeritus professor in the Department of Oceanography and Coastal Sciences in the College of the Coast and Environment at Louisiana State University, where I have worked for 50 years now. Even though I'm an emeritus professor, I've continued a very active research program, and I hope to do so for several more years. I knew I wanted to be a biologist in high school after I took biology in high school. And so I graduated and I went to LSU, got a bachelor's and master's degree in biological sciences, majoring in zoology, but I took a wide variety of courses. And then I went to the University of North Carolina for my PhD, and I was fortunate to work with the noted ecologist Howard Odum, who was one of the founders of 20th century ecology. And he taught me to take a holistic look at whatever I was doing. And my dissertation project was partially related to wetlands and using them for improving water quality. And then I got a job back at LSU in 1971 and began about a 50-year career studying wetlands. And Louisiana is a great place to study wetlands because it's the place where the Mississippi Delta is, and then that is some of the premier wetlands of the world. And they're also in the Delta, salt marshes, fresh marshes, swamps. And so I ended up studying all of those and worked for a good while in the Mediterranean, studying Mediterranean wetlands, especially associated with deltas there. And so that's been my career, and I was fortunate to work with a broad number of people, very talented people, and develop ideas about deltas and wetlands. And what I've found out is, and what everybody knows now, is wetlands are extremely important. They serve many different roles and have important ecological and economic values. They're habitats for important resources such as fisheries and lumber and cypress swamps. They improve water quality, they store water, they buffer storms, they sequester carbon. And I've measured all of those things in my studies. And so, and as I said, I traveled a lot and was able to study wetlands in different parts of the world and interact with an international group of people who were studying wetlands. And so those are the important values. And the other thing is one thing that was happening as I was doing my work in wetlands was the real deterioration of wetlands through destruction and pollution and changes in hydrology. And so I studied all of those aspects of wetlands and many different types of wetlands as during my career. And I might say that I was the major professor of 70 students, and I have over almost 500 co-authors on various publications. So I interacted with a large group of people. Then one of the other factors that we consider now, especially, is global change processes and how wetlands are involved in those. And these global change processes are large, what we call megatrends that affect the biosphere globally. And climate change is probably the most recognized ones, and that includes things like sea level rise, intense rainstorms, hurricanes and other strong storms, floods, or on the other hand, droughts, and an understanding of how human impacts and global change affect wetlands and how wetlands can ameliorate some of these global change. For instance, by carbon sequestration is an important information we need in studying wetlands. And I think as we look forward in time during this century, we're going to have to learn how to use wetlands to address some of these big issues in terms of water quality, in terms of global change, and protecting important habitat. And also, we're going to have to learn how to restore and sustain wetlands in a growing environment that it makes it more difficult for them to exist, especially, for instance, as in some areas are drying due to drought.